Kim Jong-un is running a vast network of brutal political gulags where thousands of men, women, and children are worked to death, tortured, and executed.
Now the regime denies it. What gulag?
State media is also claiming that hundreds of North Korean orphans are voluntarily working on farms and in coal mines.
You're 14, barefoot on frozen dirt, packed shoulder to shoulder with thousands of prisoners. The guards call it public education. You're forced to witness horrors you'll never forget.
I saw with my own eyes how my mother and my brother were publicly executed.
For Shin dong-hyuk, one of the best known witnesses to North Korea's Camp 14 horrors, watching death wasn't shocking. It was simply life behind the wire. A place where the guards have complete control over your life and death.
I just had to follow the inmates, and if I didn't feel like it anymore, I just shot them.
Hidden deep in the mountains about 50 miles from Pyongyang lies Kaechon Internment Camp, better known as Camp 14. It's regarded as North Korea's deadliest political prison and part of a vast system of labor camps. North Korea claims places like this don't exist, but satellite photos, defector testimonies, and UN reports say otherwise. These political prison camps, known as kwanliso, are the black holes of the Kim Jong-un regime. Prisoners go in, and almost none come out. This isn't just history. In September 2025, a UN human rights report found that repression in North Korea has only deepened, with more forced labor and harsher punishments for being caught with movies and shows created outside of the country. In 2021, several major news outlets reported a man was sentenced to death for smuggling in episodes of Squid Game. Worse yet, teenagers were allegedly jailed simply for watching it.
Most die from malnutrition, disease, or beatings. They are erased from history.
Among these horrors, Shin's story exposes one of the darkest secrets of the Kim regime. He's believed to be the only person ever born inside a total control camp to escape its brutal confines.
Look at my arms. My arms aren't normal. Before I was tortured, my arms were straight.
This is not a prison where you get parole or any special privileges. And for Shin, it was all he knew about the world.
It was clear that I would have to live there until I died. Camp 14 is a death camp. Nobody is released from there.
His harrowing journey from a childhood behind an electric fence to a desperate escape to freedom offers a rare first-hand glimpse into Camp 14's atrocities. Which torture methods keep Camp 14 running? How did Shin manage to escape Camp 14 without being spotted? And what family secret nearly cost him his life? Buckle up, this episode isn't for the faint-hearted. We'll uncover the shocking story of Shin dong-hyuk's fight to survive Camp 14. North Korea has operated a sprawling network of prison camps for decades. It runs several types of detention: labor training centers for short-term hard labor, re-education camps functioning as regular prisons, and, at the highest level, political prison camps, known as kwanliso, where you simply disappear. One former North Korean spy said it plainly.
Nobody has ever come back alive from a political prison camp. Even watching South Korean dramas can get you sent there.
These camps are North Korea's ghost zones, off the map yet impossible to ignore. We know of them only through satellite photos and survivor accounts. Camp 14 is one of them. For years, analysts have mapped its guard posts, factories, and fences, all of it evidence of what Pyongyang still denies. So, how many people are trapped today? Estimates vary, but in the last year or so, reports claim there are 65,000 prisoners across 4 political prison camps: Camp 14, 15, 16, and 25, based on satellite imagery and defector testimony. At the system's peak, human rights researchers estimated as many as 200,000 people were held across North Korea's Gulag network. That's enough to fill about 2,500 city buses, with every seat occupied by someone erased from the outside world. At Camp 14, the architecture is built for control. Guard posts with shoot-to-kill orders, electric fences, informants in every barrack, and brutal production quotas in factories and mines built for slave labor. Camp rules are posted everywhere. In plain terms, obey instantly, report every suspicion, never steal or hide food, and accept punishment without complaint. Break one, and you could be beaten or shot. Torture isn't an exception. It's the system itself.
Torture? That's nothing special. Every time a suspect is arrested, he is tortured.
Former detainees and analysts describe beatings for minor infractions, endless work hours and punishments meant to break the body, not just extract confessions.
They bound my hands and feet with a rope. Then they pulled me up with my back to the floor. And then they made a fire under my back.
Visual evidence from defectors reveals stress positions like the pigeon and airplane poses, arms twisted behind the back or stretched until collapse, documented in drawings shown to UN investigators. One former Camp 22 commander went even further, describing a method of water torture in chilling detail.
We had a chamber. It was a huge aquarium. The inmates are lowered into water by a rope all the way to the mouth. I had a pedal I could operate with my foot. When I pressed the pedal, the prisoner was fully immersed underwater. The pain of suffocation and the fear of drowning are unbearable.
Life is reduced to fear and labor. Housing is bare concrete, and food is barely a comfort and more of a means to an end.
The only food in the camp was maize and Chinese cabbage soup. 3 times a day for 12 months of the year. Always the same food.
Fail to meet a quota and you lose your rations. Fail again and you're never heard from again. The only access to meat is through rats, frogs, and insects.
When a rat got into a room, we closed all the doors and killed it. Then we quickly held it in the fire to burn off the hairs. Then we skinned it and gutted it. Then we cooked it in the fire and ate it.
Rats for dinner? Yeah, bon appetit, Camp 14 style. Most inmates are put to work, even as children, spending long hours making wigs, bicycles, or even fake eyelashes, all without any pay or breaks. These products get sold to China at a too-good-to-be-true discount, North Korea profits, and many end up on the global market. For Shin, this lifestyle of endless work was drilled into him at an early age. Imagine being born behind the wire. School starts early, but your classroom is a mine.
I started with forced labor when I was 6. The children went into the mines and pushed the wagons out.
Shin's parents were prisoners allowed to marry as a reward for labor, a system meant to control bloodlines under yunjwaje, meaning guilt by association. For North Koreans, if you commit a political crime, you can have 3 generations of your family imprisoned just by association. To Shin, his mother and brother weren't family. They were rivals for food. North Korea's prison camps weaponized hunger and betrayal, conditioning people to turn on one another to survive. If you catch anyone breaking the rules, telling the guards could mean a little extra porridge and one more day alive.
In the camp, everyone watches everyone. That was the rule. I had to spy on my parents, and my parents had to monitor me too.
Beatings were routine. For missed quotas, minor infractions, or simply being too slow. Even children as young as 7 or 8 weren't spared.
Once, a few grains of corn were found in a girl's pocket, but she was unfortunately caught. She was beaten mercilessly with a cane. It started at 8 o'clock in the morning and only ended at around 1 in the afternoon.
That's how the system works. Take away every choice, every voice, until even the idea of hope disappears. Sadly, the little girl didn't make it. Public executions were regular and mandatory for all prisoners to attend, including children. For Shin, it was one of his earliest memories. He was only 4 years old. One night, returning from work, Shin saw something he wished he hadn't.
I was 14. When I came home that day, my brother was there too. He wasn't allowed to be there.
His brother had fled the cement factory, and their mother begged him to hide in the mountains before it was too late. But what upset Shin the most was what his mother prepared for his brother.
She cooked a portion of rice for my brother. I was hungry every day, but she didn't give me any. That hurt me.
Hunger turned into jealousy, and jealousy into betrayal. Shin went to his teacher and reported them. Before confessing, he tried to negotiate for two things: a good meal and the title of class representative. The teacher agreed, but never kept his promise. That night, security forces raided their home. Shin's mother and brother were rounded up. To the younger Shin's shock, so was he.
I was taken away in a truck. I had to wear a blindfold so I couldn't see anything. It wasn't until I arrived in a large building that I knew I had been deported to the camp prison.
Upon arrival, he was thrown into a pitch-dark concrete cell number 7, as he later recalled, barely large enough to lie down on the cold floor. The next day, guards dragged Shin into a dingy interrogation room, demanding he confess to his role in the escape plot.
They kept asking me the same questions. Why did my mother and my brother hatch a plan like that? Why did they want to flee from the labor camp? What had my family plotted? They asked these questions over and over again.
Terrified and confused, Shin insisted he only knew of the plan and had reported it, but the officers didn't believe him, or didn't care. What followed was a nightmare. With both his arms and legs bound with rope, Shin was hung from the ceiling, and guards lit a charcoal fire beneath his bare back, lowering him toward the flames until his skin burnt. They pierced his lower abdomen with a steel hook to stop him from squirming, but the intense pain made him faint. The next thing he knew, he woke up in another dark prison cell, next to an old man who had seen better days. And despite the horror, a fragile moment of humanity emerged.
I was 14, and for the first time in my life, I got human affection.
The older prisoner helped clean Shin's wounds, moved him when he was too weak, and showed him kindness, something he had never known before.
I had never felt before that human beings could be social animals.
His ordeal behind bars continued for 7 more months. Then, in late November 1996, guards came to his cell with a fresh set of clothes. Shin was released from the inner prison. The old man who had tended his wounds whispered a final message of hope.
He told me, "All the best. You must survive." I can now say that it's thanks to his help that I survived.
The prison guards brought him back to the same interrogation room. This time, he spotted a familiar face.
My father was there too. That was the first time I realized that my father had been arrested and taken to the prison at the same time as me.
Then both Shin and his father were blindfolded and thrown into the back of a truck. When they finally arrived at their destination, they were shocked at what they saw. On that cold November day, thousands of prisoners were assembled at the execution ground. Shin and his father were shoved to the very front row. They saw 2 figures being dragged to the execution site, a man and a woman, both gaunt and malnourished. It was Shin's brother and mother.
Our release deliberately took place on this day, so we could watch this tragedy. I saw with my own eyes how my mother and my brother were publicly executed.
As one former guard later admitted with chilling detachment,
"The decision whether to kill them or let them live was completely up to me."
after the execution, Shin was sent back to the camp's textile factory, a world of forced labor, quotas, and punishment. One day he accidentally dropped one of the sewing machines. The response from the guards was immediate.
As a punishment, my finger was cut off. But I was just relieved that I wasn't publicly executed as a result of the incident.
Then, in the summer of 2004, everything changed. A new prisoner arrived, Park Young-chol. Park had seen the outside world and spoke of things Shin could barely imagine, like homes with heat, TV shows, trips to China. But what captured Shin the most wasn't the comfort. It was something else entirely.
The stories about the food awakened my curiosity. He had eaten meat at a barbecue. He had eaten chicken. That was something I wanted.
This wasn't about freedom. It was about survival and the taste of real food.
Even if I were to be shot tomorrow because I was trying to escape, I at least wanted to eat a piece of chicken or cooked meat. Just once in my life.
On January 2nd, 2005, he and Park were sent to collect firewood near the edge of the camp, specifically by its electric fence. When the guards were out of sight, they ran for it, and alarms erupted across the camp. Park reached the fence first and threw himself into the electrified barbed wire. There was a flash, a hiss, and in an instant, he was electrocuted.
His body pulled the wire down, and there was a gap. I was able to crawl through the fence over his back.
In seconds, Shin dong-hyuk bolted and never looked back. Guards shouted and gunshots rang out, but Shin was determined.
On the other side of the fence, I just kept running. I just wanted to get away.
The next morning hit like color TV after a lifetime of black and white.
The first morning in freedom was a big shock. I saw people running around freely. It felt to me like this world was heaven.
For the first time, Shin saw ordinary people enjoying simple freedoms, choosing their clothes, laughing in the open, showing affection, all things utterly foreign to him. He stole food, clothes, and money. Only then, realizing what money actually was.
I didn't know at the time what money meant. Then I saw how people use paper to get food and other things.
Shin knew he had to keep moving north. He remembered Park saying that beyond the northern mountains lay China, a place of safety. He eventually reached the Tumen River, which marks the border between China and North Korea. Once nightfall came, he carefully walked across its brittle ice. Nobody stopped him. Back then, border security was pretty relaxed. But if you watch our episode Americans Trapped in North Korea after this, you'll see how much that's changed. And just like that, Shin dong-hyuk crossed into China, a free man at last. But something still weighed on his conscience.
What I find extremely regrettable is that I didn't even smile once at my father before running away. He must have suffered terribly.
Freedom came slowly. After months on the run in China, all while starving and terrified of being caught, Shin finally found refuge in the South Korean consulate and was flown to Seoul. In the free world, Shin had to learn everything. Elevators, subways, menus, while reliving everything. Torture, betrayal, executions. He had escaped Camp 14's fences, but not its memories. By 2013, at about 30 years old, he was traveling the world as a human rights activist, speaking at conferences, testifying before US lawmakers, and co-hosting an online show to expose life inside North Korea's gulags.
It's not comparable to any other nation in the world. Terrible human rights violations beyond anyone's imagination.
The kwanliso prison system Shin escaped still exists today. Efforts to prosecute Kim Jong-un for crimes against humanity have stalled, blocked by China and Russia at the UN Security Council. Despite global outrage, Camp 14 and the other prison camps still operate, with their prisoners forced to work in industries that reach far beyond North Korea's borders. One former spy even revealed a secret wartime plan.
If war ever breaks out, the prison camps are to be wiped out immediately. Every prisoner is executed. This is their training.
So how do you survive Camp 14? You don't. You endure. You adapt to hunger, memorize the rules, hide your thoughts, and hope you're never noticed. Shin's journey from hell to freedom is a stark reminder that behind the headlines of missile tests and political theater, tens of thousands of innocent people remain trapped in North Korea's modern-day concentration camps, still waiting for the freedom we often take for granted. If you were moved by Shin's incredible story, don't miss our episode on another defector, Timothy Cho. Abandoned as a child in a North Korean camp, he endured multiple failed escapes before finally breaking free. Until then, stay safe, stay informed, and keep watching How to Survive.